Right now this morning, keeping kids safe. A Minnesota mother's critical warning about home security for children with autism. And one death every 4 days, the alarming reality of domestic violence in Wisconsin. We discussed this topic with a Gunderson official on Mindful Monday.
Plus, are you ready for summer again with a bit of a warm-up coming up with temperatures getting up to 82 degrees, possibly in breezing gusty winds, and of course some showers on the way as well. We'll talk about that in just a bit.
Streaming live now on News8000.com. You're watching WKBT La Crosse. This is News 8 Now, This Morning.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us as you wake up on this Monday morning. I'm Alexandra Carter.
And I'm Art Jarrett.
It is Monday, October 28th. Monday is back so soon, isn't it?
It is.
It always gets here so fast.
I know. It's like once you get past, well, for me, because I go to bed so early, it's like,
exactly.
You know, you're about 2 o'clock, I'm like, my weekend's done.
Right. Monday's basically already here. Weather-wise, we've got a little bit going on this week.
Yeah, let's get right into it. It's here right now. We're looking at some breezy and gusty winds on the way. We're also going to be seeing warmer temperatures on the way as well. We'll get into that warmer air, and that's going to bring in or usher in out of the southwest. We'll usher in some warmer conditions coming into the picture, and that will carry over up to 82 degrees for tomorrow. We could break some records not only today, but for tomorrow, and then get into some windy and gusty conditions. Then we go into the remainder, and once you get past midweek, by Thursday, going to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you're looking at potential for drier conditions briefly on Friday, getting into some shower potential, working into the forecast, and then we'll see that for Saturday, Sunday, possibly into Monday as well. So when I come back, I'll give you a better overview of how that all plays out. So today, warmer and windy with potential record-breaking temperatures. And of course, on Wednesday, we could see a storm or two popping into the picture before it ushers in a little bit more to the east and up and out of our region. So when I come back, I'll give you a better overview of how that will look for you. So stick around just a moment.
On the campaign trail, former President Donald Trump facing bipartisan criticism over controversial racial remarks at Madison Square Garden, while VP Harris rallies support in Philadelphia with just 8 days until voters decide. CBS's Jared Hill reports.
In a homecoming for former President Donald Trump, the New York native rallying thousands Sunday at Madison Square Garden.
We will have the strongest economy, the most secure borders, the safest cities.
But this morning, there's bipartisan fallout over a comedian's racially charged jokes that opened Trump's rally.
There's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah, I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Republican Florida Senator Rick Scott wrote on X, "It's not funny and it's not true." Democratic vice presidential nominee Tim Walz pushed back during a Twitch live stream with New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
There are hundreds of thousands of Puerto Ricans across in battleground states that need to send them a message on this.
The Trump campaign says these jokes were not reviewed beforehand and they do not represent the former president's views. All of this as both candidates work to win over Latino voters. In Philadelphia, Vice President Kamala Harris visited a black barber shop and church and a Puerto Rican restaurant.
We have an opportunity before us to turn the page on the fear and the divisiveness.
Today, Harris campaigns in Michigan while Trump stumps in Georgia.
And tomorrow, Trump will campaign in Allentown, Pennsylvania, a city with a large population of Puerto Ricans. Also tomorrow, Harris will lay out her closing arguments at the Ellipse in Washington, the same place Trump made his January 6th speech before the insurrection. Happening today, First Lady Jill Biden and Minnesota's First Lady Gwen Walz visiting La Crosse, marking their first time campaigning together. Well, this is Biden's first stop in La Crosse. Walz recently joined local Democrats at the Concordia Ballroom for a debate watch party. Details on today's rally are still to come. Democratic Party of Wisconsin Chair Ben Wiekler is traveling with surrogates throughout the state to get people to vote for Democrats in the election. He says he wants people who might not want to vote or don't know who they're voting for yet to understand that the freedom to make decisions about their bodies is on the line, and the cost of living could go up more. According to Wickler, 3% of Wisconsinites are still unsure of who they're voting for.
When the race is tied, that means that last door you knock, the last friend or family member that you sent a text message to a few hours before the polls close, that could be the whole ball game. And I think for folks who want to ensure that Harris beats Trump, that Tammy Baldwin goes back to the U.S. Senate and Rebecca Cook wins her House race, it impels all of us to do everything we can in the final stretch here.
And meanwhile, Wisconsin GOP Chairman Schimming is questioning Senator Baldwin's ethics, claiming she and her partner may have exploited legal loopholes for financial gain, and he's demanding answers from the senator. The campaign trail continued in Chippewa Falls yesterday. Senate candidate Eric Hovde brought his Time for Change bus tour to Loopy's Grill and Saloon. Joined by Congressman Tom Tiffany, Hovde met with voters across Chippewa, Washburn, and Rusk counties, highlighting his support for small businesses and farmers.
I've been all over the state for the last 9 months. The energy is building. I feel great. People want to see change in our country. It's time for change.
Hovde's tour continues today with visits to Richland Center and Platteville. Early voting will continue across the Badger State today. If you're looking to do that, La Crosse residents can vote at City Hall from 8:30 this morning till 4:30 p.m. or at the Southside Neighborhood Center from 1 to 6 p.m. And if you live in Onalaska, as always, head to the city clerk's office from 8 to 4. Authorities say they plan to release more information today about a deadly incident in Prairie du Chien. Police say they found a man dead from apparent stab wounds during a welfare check Friday night on East Wisconsin Street. A 39-year-old Grant County man was later arrested. Investigators say the suspects and victim knew each other, and they say the attack was not random. A deadly attack raising new questions about the legal system this Domestic Violence Awareness Month after a man out on signature bond is accused in the death of 35-year-old Takara Manning. Now her mother is demanding change, as News 8 Now's Allison Ferget explains.
Oh, my daughter was a loving, caring, spirited individual.
Yolanda Manning Joyce says her daughter Takara touched the lives of many. She says Takara was giving, kind to everyone, and above all, someone who fiercely loved her 2 sons.
She was a great mom. She was particular and was a perfectionist on how she raised her boys.
The past few weeks have been hard on Manning Joyce and her family. Takara died on October 17th from injuries sustained during an incident that happened 11 days earlier.
You never know that you're going to see your child one day or one evening, and then the next morning you're getting a call from the emergency room that your child is there.
39-year-old Andrew Nauman is charged for Takara's death. In June, Nauman was charged for battery and strangulation of a different victim, but was released on a signature bond. Seeing a problem with that legal process, Manning Joyce is now turning her grief into action. She's currently working to establish Takara's Law, which would create stricter bond requirements for people accused of violent crimes.
Passing this law will, number one, hopefully eliminate the opportunity for those offenders to repeat their actions.
Manning Joyce has reached out to Governor Evers' office about the proposed law. She's also set up a GoFundMe to help support her advocacy efforts.
Once we get this localized in the state of Wisconsin, then we will move forward for a national law.
Manning Joyce says it's her mission to make sure what happened to her daughter doesn't happen again.
Love your children today, because tomorrow is not promised.
Reporting in Sparta, Allison Ferget, News 8 Now, This Morning.
And if you want to support Manning Joyce's efforts, we'll have her GoFundMe linked on our digital platforms. West Salem residents passed the helmet yesterday to help the family of coach Caitlin Donnelly, who died in a crash on Highway 108 last week. Donnelly was killed when his car hit a grain truck in Medora while driving home from youth football practice with his son. His son is still in the hospital in Madison. The community is raising funds to help Donnelly's wife and 4 children with funeral and medical costs.
Our goal was just to raise as much as we can. We weren't looking for a specific amount. We're just, anything at this point helps. Whether it's $1 we get or it's, $50,000, great. We're just trying to get anything we can to help the family.
We have a link to that GoFundMe on our website as well. Time now is 6:09. Still ahead on your morning news. Retail reckoning. A wave of store closures hitting a new high. And Delta suing tech firm over flight cancellation chaos. And Iceland's economy soars after shifting to a 4-day work week.
It's a yellow cab for passengers with 4 legs. I'm Bradley Blackburn with how a business called Pet Cab is going places by solving a problem for pet owners.
And for now, we're sending you to break with something to put the good in your morning. Take a moment to smile. Some of the tiniest superheroes celebrate their first Halloween. Babies in the NICU at a Chicago hospital are dressing up in costumes chosen by their parents, from Bat Baby to a mini doctor. Here's a princess. There's even a ketchup and mustard duo. You can help pick the winning costume by voting on the hospital's Facebook page. You only have till noon today to do that. That is on the Advocate Children's Hospital Facebook page. There's a little Beanie Baby. As you start to wake up this morning, leaving you with a quick wake-up call with the city that has the tallest observation wheel in the world. If you can't tell, that is Las Vegas, Nevada. Stay with us. Your morning consumer news is after the break.
Life's busy. Off is not an option. You need to be on time, on the go, on the call, or just ready to play on. Life's waiting. Power on with Batteries Plus. Visit one of over 700 locations today.
We're an implant-focused practice. I think the advantage of a father-daughter practice is, I've been at this for 30 years now. I learned things that worked well and things that didn't work so well.
And it was fun to be able to just jump in and kind of complement that. I feel like it made both of us stronger.
You don't expect it when you walk into a dental office. You don't expect the family aspect, but when you walk into our doors, we're going to give you that.
If you think you have a full mouth of challenges, come see us. Come down for a free consultation.
Let's talk about Rebecca Cook. She's a political operative. She's worked for Defund the Police radicals across this country.
Cook spent millions getting Mandela Barnes elected, the most anti-law enforcement candidate in Wisconsin's history.
You remember Barnes, the guy who said reducing prison populations was sexy?
Defund the police radicals make it harder for us to keep you safe.
That's why we can't support Rebecca Cook, because she'll never support us.
Derek Van Orden, and I approve this message.
What would a Trump second term look like? It's all laid out in his Project 2025 agenda. He'd let insurance companies deny coverage for pre-existing conditions, cut Social Security and Medicare, and give tax cuts to billionaires, while the middle class pays the price with lower income and higher costs. Because for Trump, it's all about getting unchecked power while you pay the price. Donald Trump, more unhinged, unstable, and unchecked.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
I thought I knew Tammy Baldwin.
I thought I knew Tammy Baldwin.
But boy, is she extreme.
Tammy's open border policies flooded Wisconsin with fentanyl and criminals.
Her bill to force women to share locker rooms with biological men, dangerous.
And Tammy's done nothing to lower the cost of living.
In fact, she helped cause the crisis.
25 years is enough.
It's enough.
It's enough.
It's time for Tammy Baldwin to go. Fix Washington PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
Eric Hovde owns a $3 billion California bank. That's right, he owns it.
And a $7 million mansion on the beach.
Eric Hovde proposed $4 trillion in new tax breaks for rich guys just like him.
And to pay for it, Hovde would cut Social Security by 28%.
Slash Medicare 25%.
And veterans benefits 40%.
Outrageous. Now we know what's wrong with Eric Hovde. This guy is not for us.
A lot has changed since the Overhead Door Company installed its first door in 1921. One thing that hasn't, our commitment to quality. We set the standard a century ago with the first motorized garage door, and we have not stopped innovating since. Today, you can build your dream door with the DoorView app, and with the OHD Anywhere app, you can control your new door from anywhere. So next time you need a repair or replacement for your garage door, look for the red ribbon and trust 100 years of experience, Overhead Door Company.
Batteries Plus has the national scale for all your power needs and a dedicated expert for the local support you want. Power on with Batteries Plus Business.
All right, what we're looking for today, we're going to go, well, windy. We're going to be warmer, and of course, we'll take it into potential record-breaking temperature as we go into tomorrow. We'll be seeing that for sure, possibly getting into very wet conditions for Wednesday, and of course, some gusty and breezy conditions. We're talking about winds 33 miles per hour plus in some locations. Here are the current temperatures right now, 40s, some 50s in there as well, and as you get closer down to it, you're seeing Bosqueville at 39 degrees. They cooled it off. We're holding on to the 24-hour temperature change. We're at least 4 to about, say, 15 degrees to 22 degrees warmer than we were 24 hours ago. That heat is here. It's coming up from the southwest and it continues to move into our area slowly but surely. Hey, observed winds right now, we're up to about, say, 5 miles per hour up in Eau Claire. There at 6, so not much in the way of fog right now because of the winds. But we'll also be seeing, as you can see right here, current visibility. No one is really having any issues for for fog right now. But as we get into it today, 7 a.m., you're looking at clearing skies. Remember, we're in mostly cloudy skies right now. We'll get into some clearing and then get into mostly cloudy skies by 9 a.m. And then by the time we get into 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock, you're looking at clouds to be at least partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies, with temperatures fluctuating from 46 all the way up to 51 to 57 degrees, getting to 65 degrees once you get into the afternoon. Eau Claire, you're looking at least some sunshine to mostly cloudy skies as we go right through the morning, and then clearing out by sunrise, getting it to at least partly cloudy skies. And then once you get into the afternoon, you're a little bit better there. La Crosse, and another point of view here, you're looking at 50s widespread to at least 61 degrees once you get into the afternoon. Your highs for the day, you can see 68 degrees getting to at least 72 degrees. And once we get into it tomorrow, there's potential for record-breaking temperatures. When I get back, I'll have a better overview of how that all plays out for you. And of course, we may even see some changes coming in the times lately. So back to that in just a moment.
In your Monday morning consumer news, store closings have hit their highest level in years. Among them, Family Dollar announcing 677 store closings this year. Walgreens will close 259 locations and Denny's closing 150. Coresight Research says major retailers announced more than 6,100 store closures so far this year, already outpacing last year's total of more than 5,500. And Delta now suing CrowdStrike after that computer outage that led to a week-long service outage and thousands of canceled flights. In the lawsuit, Delta said CrowdStrike committed a series of intentional and grossly negligent acts that caused the global IT outage in July. The airline said it had to cancel 7,000 flights over 5 days, and the tech troubles cost Delta $500 million, as well as harm to its reputation. CrowdStrike says Delta's claims are based on misinformation, and the airline is trying to shift blame for its slow recovery. Iceland's 4-day work week is proving to be an economic win. More than half of workers have switched to shorter hours with no pay cut, and the results are stronger growth than most of Europe and one of the region's lowest unemployment rates. Hopefully the bosses are listening. The average American family spends more than $1,500 a year on their pets, but as animal lovers know, some lavish far more to their gifts. Some lavish more to give their best. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on the teleprompter there, but Bradley Blackburn reports on how companies are doing, how they're going to the dogs, and finding success.
On a morning in New York, Greta Nagy and her Dalmatian Ollie are out for a stroll.
He's the best. He's a very special dog.
Ollie's routine includes a walk and then a ride. He's a frequent passenger in the pet cab, where seats are set up for those with 4 legs.
I think he likes going on the rides. The windows down and, you know, he likes it.
The bright yellow cab with paw prints instead of checkers was created by Elliot Levenglick. He started Pet Cab NYC because for owners without their own cars, moving a pet can be tough. There are strict rules for mass transit, and regular taxis can refuse animals.
There's a big opportunity there, and a lot of people are pet owners.
Uber and Lyft also offer pet rides, but the animal's owner must also be in the car. Pet Cab NYC and a handful of other companies across the nation offer transportation for pets who are alone. It's driven by demand. In the U.S., spending on pet care services like boarding or sitting has almost doubled since 2020.
A pet becomes a part of your family, and so as a result of that, people will invest a lot of their time and their money into their pet because it's just a loved one that they sometimes care more about than their family members.
Since launching, Levenglick has added cars and drivers and is now looking to expand to more cities. Ollie took his cab to doggy daycare, joining a pack of happy pups. For owner Greta, it's all worth it.
Does Pet Cab just make it easy?
Yeah, it makes it extremely easy. My personal expenses the dogs have taken over.
Man's best friend on the move as spending on pets speeds up.
Looked pretty comfortable in there. Pet Cab says its primary passengers are dogs, but they have also carried cats, birds, lizards, and more all around New York City. That's it for your morning consumer news. Time now is 6:19. Let's check in with Art for a look at our forecast. Hi, Art.
Hi, good morning to you, Alexander. Great to see you again. We go right into City Cam 8 and it's looking at least cloudy skies. You really can't see it because it's so dark outside. We're going to lose that cloud cover slowly but surely. You can see it right here, right now, going into the 6 o'clock hour here. And eventually, as we get closer into how this all plays out. From 5 a.m. we had the mostly cloudy skies, and once you can see now, getting to the 9 o'clock hour, those clouds are going to start to break apart, and then we're going to open up the skies from the west and open up more of that cloud cover out of the way for us here with the skies to get mostly sunny. But more clouds will come back once we get into the latter portion of your afternoon, getting into partly cloudy skies and then loading those clouds right back up once we get into the evening hours around 6 o'clock and then continuing on for the remainder of the night. Now, as far as rain is concerned, nothing happening today, but we're looking at Tuesday. You're going to see some rainfall trying to get a little bit closer to us here. It's mostly across the river, and eventually it's going to try to get a little bit closer. Look at that snow that's trying to get down here as well. So slowly but surely still stays well up into the northern portion of Minnesota, but by the time we get into Wednesday, though, we see the rainfall start to pop in. We have a 90% chance of rainfall moving into the picture for us. Then we continue on, but you see the stretch of breezy and gusty winds coming up. It's also ushering some warmer air coming from the Gulf, and eventually that's going to bring in the possibility of storm activity into our forecast. That's a possibility, but you look at it, some of it starts to sneak across a little bit to the east before it stays pretty much into our region. So for now, it's up in the air if that will be in our forecast for some storm activity. We'll go into it. Mild conditions will ensue today, and then eventually that'll get out of the way. We'll go straight to the warm. Temperatures getting up to about 82 degrees as we get into tomorrow. Then once we go right into Wednesday, well, that warmer air is going to start to fade slowly but surely, and we'll get into some seasonal average temperatures taking us back to at least around 52 or so degrees. Widespread 70s expected today, some upper 60s up to the north. Down to the south, you're looking at those low 70s as well. And then, of course, we take it right into how this all plays out for tomorrow. Warmer conditions coming in with clouds starting in as mostly cloudy. Then they open up, turn to at least mostly sunny, and then pop back into, again, increasing clouds through the day, taking us back to mostly cloudy skies to finish the afternoon, going into Wednesday with cloudy skies working back in. That 90% chance of rainfall, as I mentioned, and potential storm activity. Then once we get into Thursday, though, you're looking at conditions to be about 52 degrees, so expect some cooler conditions coming back in your forecast. In fact, we'll also be seeing as we go into those warmer conditions and showers as we carry over for this early part of the week, going into the last part of the week. We'll also be seeing 70s, some 80s, popping in the picture with 50s turning back to more seasonal to get back into your, yeah, that's right, getting into Saturday and Sunday. And of course, don't forget your Halloween as well. Back to you.
Thank you, Art. The time now is 6:22. Still ahead, a mom's mission to protect children with autism after 2 tragic drownings. How $30 door locks are now bringing hope to hundreds of Minnesota families.
Coming up in sports, the Green Bay Packers down in Florida against the Jaguars in another game that came down to the wire. You got some highlights you won't want to miss. Coming up in the Morning Blitz.
Are record high energy costs putting a squeeze on your fixed or limited incomes? While you haven't asked for it, the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund and your local energy assistance providers are here to help. No Wisconsin resident should ever have to face the challenge of living without heat or power or face homelessness. For a hand up, apply today.
I'm Rebecca Cook, and like most folks in Wisconsin, I'm somewhere in the middle.
Oh, please. Don't be fooled by Rebecca Cook. She made her living trying to elect Democrat extremists. Cook proudly supported radicals who want to defund police, end cash bail, and throw open the border. No wonder extremists like AOC are spending big bucks to elect liberals like Cook. Rebecca Cook, just another liberal trying to fool you. Congressional Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Blaine's Farm and Fleet's Fall Workwear event is going on now. We've got unbeatable deals on quality boots and apparel to help your hard-earned dollars go further. Like $5 off men's work and sport flannels starting at $24.99. Shop new fall styles of men's and women's Ariat workwear and accessories. Get $30 in Carhartt bucks for every $125 you spend on Carhartt gear. Plus, save $80 on this Milwaukee 4-tool combo kit.
insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Kamala wouldn't change a thing? Their weakness invited wars, welfare for illegals, while Americans struggle. Now Kamala wants higher taxes on top of higher prices. We can't afford 4 more years of Kamala.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
For over 5 decades, Jim's Truck and Trailer in Winona has been your solution for everything transportation related. In 1971, my dad Jim recognized truckers and families needed a reliable partner who will have their vehicle road ready. Still family owned and operated, our mission has never wavered. Whether your ride is a truck and trailer, auto transportator, charter bus, or RV, Jim's Truck and Trailer's fleet of ASE certified technicians can handle any issue or upgrade. Jim's Truck and Trailer Coachworks, repair, refinish, remarkable.
This illegal immigrant was recently arrested in southwestern Wisconsin for a sexually violent attack on a woman, a suspected Venezuelan gang member who entered the U.S. just last year. Unfortunately, Steve Doyle supports sanctuary cities that protect criminals like this, and Doyle opposed sending resources to secure the border to keep dangerous criminals like Alejandro Jose Coronel Zarate away from our families. Steve Doyle's failures are destroying Wisconsin lives. Steve Doyle, unwilling to secure the border, unfit to serve.
First Warn Weather on News 8 Now.
Welcome to the Morning Blitz. Week 8 of the NFL season, almost to the halfway mark, and the Packers have been on a roll. Yesterday, they were down in Jacksonville, and a win over the Jaguars would make the Packers 4-0 against the AFC South. Let's go to Florida. Jordan Love entering the game with 15 touchdowns in 5 games played this year, but trouble on their first drive. 3rd and 8, Love dropping back, rolling out. He's going to overthrow his wideout, but Love came down on his leg and he was hurt. One more look at it. Yeah, that's not a good look. He would stay in the game, but you could just see he couldn't move around. He was stiff in the pocket. It was tough to watch. Second quarter, Jaguars on offense. Trevor Lawrence back to pass from his own end zone, and he's picked off. That's Xavier McKinney, his 6th interception of the year, leads the NFL, and that would set up the offense. A few plays later, Love hands it to Jacobs. He goes up the middle and scores. Packers take a 7-0 lead. Still in the second, Packers on offense. Love hobbling around, and he finds Tucker Kraft in the tight end. Gets a huge pickup, but Love struggling after the play. Pack would lead 13-10 at the break. Then in the second half, Love's day comes to an end. Gets bumped after the throw, and that was just too much. Tried to fight through it, but at some point, you got to make sure QB1 is safe. But the Jags smelled blood in the water on 2nd and 5. Lawrence goes to the end zone. He's got Brian Thomas Jr. Jacksonville goes up 4, but the Packers have some gamers, one of them being Josh Jacobs. Watch this run, makes a guy miss, fights off a tackle, 38 yards to the house. Packers go back on top. Fourth quarter, Jags need a score. Lawrence back to pass, but Edgerrin Cooper strips him. And then watch Devontae Wyatt block out the lineman, jumps on the ball. The Packers recover. And then 2 plays later, it's Malik Willis. Goes to his tight end, it's Kraft. Walks on in for the score. Packers go up 10. Jacksonville would come back to tie it, but with 1:15 to play, Willis on play action. Gonna go to Jaden Reed, wide open down the sideline, and Reed with a huge pickup before being pushed out at the 15, so in comes Brandon McManus. And for the 2nd straight week, McManus walks it off. Packers win 30-27. How about some NBA action? Bucks taking on the Nets, up 2 late in the first half, but Dennis Schroeder pulls up from 3 and buries it. Brooklyn goes in front. Second half, Giannis and Dame start to cook. The give and go, backdoor to Giannis, easy slam dunk. Milwaukee pulls within 2. Then a few minutes later, Lillard working the defense, step back 3, nails it. Bucks retake the lead, but Brooklyn was cooking tonight. Schroeder drives the kick to Nick Claxton open in the corner. He buries it. And then in the 4th, the Nets would take over. Cam Thomas pulls up from deep. Nothing but net. Thomas would finish with a game-high 32 points as the Bucks drop another one, 115-102. That'll do it for the Blitz. We'll see you tonight.
Are record high energy costs putting a squeeze on your fixed or limited incomes? While you haven't asked for it, the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund and your local energy assistance providers are here to help. No Wisconsin resident should ever have to face the challenge of living without heat or power or face homelessness. For a hand up, apply today.
My husband and I were elated to find out that we would be having another baby. But after many tests, my doctors agreed that we had to terminate the pregnancy. It was the worst day of my life. You should know that Eric Hubdy supports laws that stop me and my doctor from making that decision. And that's a ban with no exceptions in cases of rape or incest. It's a ban that could turn doctors into criminals. He opposes abortion, period.
Win Senate is responsible for the content of this ad.
I believe in bringing people together, like my family and neighbors did when I was growing up on the north side of La Crosse. And now that I'm in the state legislature, it's why I focus on bipartisanship, because my whole being is focused on bringing people together to find solutions to make everyone a winner. I've appreciated the opportunity to be your state representative, and if I'm reelected, that's what I'm going to continue to do. My entire focus will be on bringing people together to make Wisconsin a better state.
Listen to Tammy Baldwin.
Married members must file very important information about their spouse's income, their investments, gifts, and debts. Surely the public interest would require that these obligations apply also to partners of gay and lesbian office holders.
But wait, here's Tammy today when asked to disclose the finances of her own partner.
Stay out of my personal life.
After 26 years in Washington, Tammy Baldwin's in it for herself, not us. It's time for change.
I'm Eric Hubdy, and I approve this message.
For 54 years, they were trying to get Roe v. Wade terminated, and I did it.
He did it. It was pretty devastating.
He is bragging about the rights that he stole from American women. And Trump is promising to do more. In Project 2025,
they are restricting birth control,
tracking pregnant women, enforcing a nationwide abortion ban. The government should get out of my business.
Stay out of my business.
That's not the government's business.
In America, women make their own decisions.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
To everyone who craves a fresh meal, come have a taste of Wisconsin.
America's Dairyland.
As in real dairy.
It gives Culver's fresh frozen custard its famous rich and creamy flavor. Like really rich.
So rich.
Rich and creamy.
And our cook-to-order Butterburgers?
They're topped with, you guessed it,
Wisconsin cheese.
But it's the smiles we put on your face with every meal made just for you.
That really makes our hearts melt.
From Wisconsin with love.
Welcome to Delicious.
You're watching News 8 Now. Expect more.
Welcome back. One Minnesota mother is on a mission to protect children with autism and ease the burden on their families. David Schumann looks at how two recent tragedies are fueling her drive to make a difference.
What you gonna play?
Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Okay, let's hear it.
For most of Daniel's life, he's tried to escape this house at every possible chance.
Good job.
A very common impulse for kids with autism, like him.
It is exhausting. It is exhausting mentally. It is draining physically, where you are constantly having to be one step ahead of your child.
Daniel's mother, Shaletta Brundage, tells us there have been some heart-stoppingly close calls, like once when he got out of her parents' home in Texas.
He is running full speed, flapping his hands and just having a good old time, headed to a 4-lane highway where cars are going 50 to 60 miles an hour in Houston, Texas. And thankfully, I was able to catch him before he got there because he wouldn't have stopped.
Then a few years ago, what Shaletta calls the game changer. Key-coded door locks for inside the house, keeping Daniel in. That cost about $30.
We turned the house into Fort Knox.
Shaletta now holds giveaways to get these locks to all families with autism. It started when a missing 4-year-old boy in Hopkins drowned this summer. This weekend, an 11-year-old escaped his home in Eden Prairie and also drowned. She's handed out nearly 600 of the locks. No charge, no questions asked, and another giveaway is in the works.
And it takes the anxiety and the fear and the worry away that my child may try to escape from the house.
The locks can also be opened with regular keys in case of emergency or a dead battery.
Families can also use a system that makes different sounds when different doors are opened, which Shaletta uses for extra security as well. A celebration of Diwali reaches from the White House to the stars today. Astronaut Sunita Williams, a practicing Hindu, will beam down a message from the space station later today as President Biden lights the traditional Diya lamp for guests at a White House reception. The Festival of Lights, celebrated by millions, marks the triumph of good over evil. A weekend of pasta with a purpose in Pickwick. The Fire and Rescue's annual spaghetti dinner brought the community together, raising funds for new emergency equipment and a new fire station.
Knowing that the community comes together for the fire department, we have a very supportive community, both in Richmond Township and Homer Township. People in Pickwick, they come to look forward to our events every year.
Anyone who couldn't make it but would still like to donate can contact the fire department. Voices filled the Capella Center with messages of hope over the weekend as UW La Crosse choirs joined together for their first fall performance, singing songs of light and positivity, including Luminescence and Northern Lights, each piece chosen to inspire a brighter tomorrow. And the YWCA hosted its annual tribute to outstanding women. Saturday's event recognized several women who embody the organization's mission to eliminate racism, empower women, and promote peace, justice, and freedom. The women being honored for their impactful contributions to the community are Momoa Vu, Dr. Erin Moorcomb, Joan Park, and Livy Papadopoulos.
It's really an opportunity to come together as a community and center the important work and really call out and showcase individuals that are doing really good things and honoring individuals and empowering them to also feel that they can reach for their goals and do good work in the community.
The time now is 6:37. Let's check back in with News 8 meteorologist Art Jarrett to tell us what to expect on our morning commute.
All right, and away we go with that, Alexandra. We're going to be seeing today, we get out to windy and gusty conditions. That's going to start over mostly going into the mid-morning hours and continue on. We're also going to be seeing potential for record-breaking temperatures and very gusty winds, and of course some wet conditions coming in for Wednesday with potential showers, of course with potential storm activity as well. Temperatures right now for you all from Eau Claire, 47 degrees. We're looking at 47 degrees once you get into areas right by La Crosse as well, 47 in Prairie du Chien and 39 in Boscobel. We'll get right back into your 24-hour temperature change where you're seeing temperatures are much warmer than they were 24 hours ago. Sparta up to 22 degrees warmer in some locations. We're also going to be seeing the winds slowly but surely. They'll pick up. You can see some of the winds west of the Mississippi a little bit stronger, but we're also going to be seeing winds about 5 miles per hour getting into it. As we go right into your fog and low cloud activity, not much going on with fog, so bear that in mind as you start out because of the winds that are out there. All right.
Before we head to break, it's time to look at today's Look Who's 8.
All right, how about this though? Hattie is turning 8 months old today. She loves to play with her big brother, Weston, and is always smiling.
And Piper is turning 8 years old. She loves gymnastics, watching the Packers, drawing, and pizza rolls.
How about Tenley? She is turning 8 years old today. She loves to be silly and likes to go to church.
And Betty is turning 80. She loves to be around her family.
All right, how about this? Don is turning 88 years old today. He loves to keep busy and spend time with his family and friends.
Happy birthday to all of them. And if you know a special someone turning 8 weeks, 8 months, 8 years, 18, 80, or 88 years old soon, we'd love to feature them.
Yeah, that's right. Just upload their photo to our website, news8000.com, and look for the Submit Pictures button under the Home tab on our website.
Stay tuned for a Mindful Monday discussion on the deadly risks of domestic violence and how you can get help.
I have had the privilege of working with an exceptional team to install over 12,000 home improvements for local homeowners in the last 35 years. Now it's time for me to spend a little more time with my bride of over 50 years. Fortunately, I found an experienced remodeling contractor and corporate project manager to lead the board store into the future.
And with an outstanding team by my side, I am proud to lead this amazing company my dad has built. And we look forward to continuing to serve you with the great value that is the Board Store trademark.
My husband and I were elated to find out that we would be having another baby. But after many tests, my doctors agreed that we had to terminate the pregnancy. It was the worst day of my life. You should know that Eric Hubdy supports laws that stop me and my doctor from making that decision. And that's a ban with no exceptions in cases of rape or incest. It's a ban that could turn doctors into criminals. He opposes abortion, period.
Win Senate is responsible for the content of this ad.
Insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Kamala wouldn't change a thing? Their weakness invited wars, welfare for illegals, while Americans struggle. Now Kamala wants higher taxes on top of higher prices. We can't afford 4 more years of Kamala.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Let's talk about Rebecca Cook. She's a political operative. She's worked for defund the police radicals across this country.
Cook spent millions getting Mandela Barnes elected, the most anti-law enforcement candidate in Wisconsin's history.
You remember Barnes, the guy who said reducing prison populations was sexy?
Defund the police radicals make it harder for us to keep you safe.
That's why we can't support Rebecca Cook, because she'll never support us.
I'm Derek Van Orden, and I approve this message.
Politics these days stinks. Too much hot air, and you know what else. But I'm no stranger to putting in a hard day's work and getting the job done. I have a history of bipartisan accomplishments. It's a hard job, but I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty. I can reach across the aisle and pass good bills just as easily as I can walk across the barnyard with my shovel. So whether it's doing chores on the farm or passing bills in Madison, I'm Steve Doyle, and I'm ready to get back to work for you.
What would a Trump second term look like? It's all laid out in his Project 2025 agenda. He'd let insurance companies deny coverage for pre-existing conditions, cut Social Security and Medicare, and give tax cuts to billionaires, while the middle class pays the price with lower income and higher costs. Because for Trump, it's all about getting unchecked power while you pay the price. Donald Trump, more unhinged, unstable, and unchecked.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
I've been with U.S. Cellular for 27 years. They've always taken care of me. But when they asked me to talk to you about their special customer event, Us Days, I said, I gotta get in shape. So they sent me this Hollywood trainer. Oh, this guy's no joke. Us Days means exclusive deals just for us customers.
Now let's try burpees.
Us Days is back at U.S. Cellular. Current customers get $1,200 off any phone, plus $400 off any tablet.
All right, well, good morning to you. As we get into it here, take a look at the highs today, 52 to 58. This is what normally our average temperatures would be, I should say. And once we get into it, 33 to 39 degrees, that's what our lows should be around this time of year. Get into it right now, your current temperatures are showing we are much warmer than those 30s widespread. You're seeing mostly some 40s and some 50s in there. You get into areas by Black River Falls, you're in the 30s there and down into Boscobel there, but everyone else is holding on to 40s and are quite comfortably and mild. We'll hold on to warmer air coming up from the Great Basin, and as that happens, well, we're going to be seeing that troughing pattern move into our forecast area again and knock our temperatures a little bit warmer as we only go from today going into tomorrow as well, and then back again going slowly but surely ticking down just a little bit going into Wednesday with temperatures around 75 degrees for our high. That being said, take a look what I've got going on for you. Clouds are going to slowly but surely begin to clear once we go from sunrise to mid-morning. You're looking at areas of temperatures right now in the 40s and 50s by that time slot. Then you're seeing the clearing skies walk right into the picture here going into at least 1 o'clock hours for the early afternoon. And then we pop back. We return the clouds coming back in from the west. You're going to be seeing that again going into 4 o'clock to finish out the afternoon with increasing clouds coming back again to mostly cloudy skies going into the evening and overnight hours. We're also going to be seeing the possibility of a lot of activity coming in. We've got this great trough coming out of the Great Basin that I told you. Coming out of the west, you've got another system coming off the Pacific, moving into the Gulf of Alaska as well as under the west coast. We're going to be seeing again some cooler air sliding down a little bit from Canada as well. And as that collapses a little bit shy of our northern tier, you're going to be seeing the possibility of rainfall, of course, mixing in with that cooler air and warmer air coming up from the south, and then bringing some rainfall that continues on. We're talking about a 90% chance going into tomorrow. Wednesday. I can't even think right now. I need coffee. We're holding on to that. You can see it mostly going to slip a little bit either to the south or to the east of our area for that storm activity. As that happens, you're going to be seeing the warmer air coming in slowly but surely today, and the mild and warmer air pops in as we go into tomorrow. Then eventually cooler air starts to slide over and kind of bumps everything off to the east a little bit, and our temperatures are going to wind up like this. We're going to see some 70s, increasing numbers as we go into tomorrow and beyond. So 82 degrees today, tomorrow, 75 for Wednesday with breezy and gusty conditions. We'll also be seeing the possibility of cooler conditions coming back again for Thursday, taking us back into the mild. Now seasonably warm for everybody as we finish out that. But here we go, 70s and 80s, and then of course 75 again. We take you back to seasonal average temperatures, and dry conditions ensue for Friday and more rainfall for your weekend. Back to you.
October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and on this Mindful Monday, we're discussing a sobering statistic from a new report. 85 people died in Wisconsin at the hands of domestic violence in 2023. Joining us now is Stephanie Young from Gunderson Health System to discuss the risks of homicide in abusive relationships. Thank you for being here to
Thank you for having me.
talk about such an important subject. So, what does the report tell us about the risk of homicide in, domestic violence relationships?
This report tells us that the risk is incredibly high, especially here in Wisconsin. Unfortunately, 1 in 6 domestic violence homicides in the United States happens here in Wisconsin. Wow. So it is a hometown problem for sure. This report's also really important because it helps us remember the names of the victims. Oftentimes we focus a lot on the perpetrators of the crimes, especially when they go through the criminal legal system, and we really want to remember the people who are really impacted by this. It also tells us that while primarily women are the victims and men are the perpetrators of the crime, there are also other people who are victims of the crimes. Children are unfortunately victims in these homicides, and we also see that domestic violence happens in all kinds of relationships, in LGBTQ relationships. The report tells us that people of color are disproportionately impacted by this, and also law enforcement. One of the most dangerous calls law enforcement can respond to is a domestic violence call.
Wow, okay.
So what are the key factors to elevate domestic violence?
I think often we focus a lot on what the individual did or what the individual victim should have done. That can be a lot of our focus, but domestic violence is a really complex issue that really requires societal solutions. So just to name a couple, because we can't be here that long, would be, a lack of affordable housing, which is an issue here in La Crosse and across the country. But when people don't have safe places to go to, that can really negatively impact somebody leaving a dangerous situation. And also just a lack of gun control. What we find is that in this report it shows that the involvement of guns just really increases the lethality, and that so many more people were killed because of access to guns.
Okay. And any, specific warning signs that a relationship might be heading toward that homicidal risk?
I think what we see is usually an escalation over time. So starting maybe with the verbal abuse and that power and control really increasing over time, and then the physical abuse, and then that physical abuse increasing. We also might find that even if that relationship hasn't gone on for a long period of time, there's usually a history of escalation of abuse in the perpetrator's past relationships. So just it's an escalation overall over time.
And if we do suspect, someone we know, or maybe it's happening in our own relationship, what can we do?
I think what's really important is just connecting people to resources. So one of the most dangerous times for somebody who, or one of their greatest risks of homicide is when they leave the domestic violence relationship. And so the solution is not just for that person to leave and get themselves away from the abuser. That's an incredibly dangerous time. So we want them to have access to resources, access to options, and for that planning to occur over time to make it as safe as possible for them to leave that situation.
Okay, and Gunderson has a hotline, domestic violence and sexual assault program, and a hotline. What can you tell us about that?
Sure. So we are a public health program based in Gunderson, and because of that, we're able to meet people earlier in their experience with abuse, which is really important, and we really connect people with those resources. We help them with safety planning, helping them set up options for future housing, things like that, laying in the things that they're going to need to hopefully leave that relationship safely, and that requires support over time. And our services are completely free.
Okay, great. And we had a phone number up for there. Is there a website people can go if they're interested in learning more about that?
Just GundersonHealth.org, and then searching domestic abuse. But there's a lot of national resources as well. And like you said, we have a 24-hour hotline.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for being here to discuss such an important topic.
Thank you.
Stay with us. We're back right after this.
It's the Veterans Day sale at Home Furniture, and everything is on sale in living room, dining room, bedroom, and mattresses. Take an extra 10% off sale prices or pay no interest for 3 years. Plus, all Christmas decor is 50% off. The Veterans Day sale, now at Home Furniture.
I'm Rebecca Cook, and like most folks in Wisconsin, I'm somewhere in the middle.
Oh, please. Don't be fooled by Rebecca Cook. She made her living trying to elect Democrat extremists. Cook proudly supported radicals who want to defund police, end cash bail, and throw open the border. No wonder extremists like AOC are spending big bucks to elect liberals like Cook. Rebecca Cook, just another liberal trying to fool you. Congressional Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Think you know Steve Doyle? Think again. Doyle refused to protect our daughters, forcing them to share bathrooms and locker rooms with biological boys, and voted to force girls to compete against boys in sports. Doyle believes dangerous puberty-blocking drugs should be given to minors, and gender reassignment surgeries performed on children. Keep kids safe? Steve Doyle says no. Ryan Hipsch, focused on what matters, helping families with rising costs and protecting our children. It's just common sense. Ryan Hipsch for Assembly.
He's supposed to serve Wisconsin, but Derek Van Orden doesn't care about making our lives better. Van Orden wants to repeal the law that stops insurance companies from denying coverage if you have a pre-existing health condition. He'd make Wisconsinites pay just to give huge tax cuts to corporations and the wealthy. Van Orden even sides with extremists who tried to cut Social Security. Wisconsin deserves better, and Derek Van Orden does not belong in Congress.
HMP is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Eric Hovde's trying to scare you. The truth is, no sex change surgeries take place on minors in Wisconsin. 0. And Tammy Baldwin didn't give funding to a transgender clinic. It's actually a youth homeless shelter. Eric Hovde knows that. But he's a billionaire banker who thinks he can lie about anything, including falsely attacking Tammy Baldwin by questioning her personal life. Wisconsin's better than Eric Hovde.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
Are record high energy costs putting a squeeze on your fixed or limited incomes? While you haven't asked for it, the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund and your local energy assistance providers are here to help. No Wisconsin resident should ever have to face the challenge of living without heat or power or face homelessness. For a hand up, apply today.
Get Progressive Rug Savings right now at all Homeworld Rugs. The more you buy, the more you save on your total rug purchase of $199 or more. Get up to $500 off sale prices. Every style is on sale now at up to 50% off regular prices. The Progressive Rug Sale, now at Homeworld Rugs.
Welcome back. It's 6:53. Time for your morning news now. Authorities say they plan to release more details today about a deadly weekend incident in Prairie du Chien. Police there say they found a man dead from apparent stab wounds during a welfare check Friday on East Wisconsin Street. A 39-year-old Grant County man was later arrested. Investigators say the suspect and victim knew each other and the attack was not random. After rallying last night at New York's iconic Madison Square Garden, former President Trump campaigns in Georgia today. Vice President Kamala Harris set to deliver her closing argument tomorrow on the National Mall, where Trump made his speech on January 6, 2021, before a mob of his supporters attacked the U.S. Capitol. And the campaign trail continued in Chippewa Falls yesterday. Senate candidate Eric Hovde bringing his Time for Change bus tour to Loopy's Grill and Saloon. Joined by Congressman Tom Tiffany, Hovde met with voters across Chippewa, Washburn, and Rusk counties, highlighting his support for small businesses.
I've been all over the state for the last 9 months. The energy is building. I feel great. People want to see change in our country. It's time for change.
Haverty's tour continues today with visits to Richland Center and Platteville. Assembly Democrats spent the weekend hitting the streets in La Crosse. Representative Steve Doyle and fellow Democrats going door to door, hoping to hear directly from voters about the issues that matter most to them.
One of the most important parts of campaigning is just getting out and meeting the people. So we're going to be out knocking on doors, talking to people where they are, about what they're interested in. Then that we talk.
Off against Ryan Hipsch in a rematch of the 2022 election that won by less than 800 votes. Happening today, First Lady Jill Biden and Minnesota First Lady Gwen Walz are visiting La Crosse, marking their first time campaigning together. Well, this is Biden's first stop in La Crosse. Walz recently joined local Democrats for a debate watch party in La Crosse. Details on today's rally are still to come. Early voting continuing across the Badger State today. La Crosse residents can do that at City Hall from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. or at the Southside Neighborhood Center from 1 to 6 p.m. If you live in Onalaska, head to the city clerk's office from 8 to 4.
All right, and away we go. We're looking at La Crosse for kids heading to school. 48 degrees, holding on to at least mostly cloudy skies with clouds thinning as we go through the day, becoming partly cloudy skies. And as you go right into Eau Claire, you're looking at the possibility of conditions holding on at 48 as well, and you're going to thin out the clouds going into your forecast. Highs today, widespread 70s, 48 to the upper 60s, and then eventually as we roll right into the next few days, we continue to warm. 82 degrees tomorrow, get ready for that, and storms on Wednesday.
Well, you may have heard of cardboard boat racing, but what about pumpkin boat racing? Those are big pumpkins. Yesterday, more than 300 different pumpkin boats weighing between 600 and 1,100 pounds were sailed around a pond in northern Belgium. The race started in 2008 after a group of growers decided they needed to find a different use for these monstrous gourds. One of the event's participants told reporters paddling these massive pumpkins takes some skill as they aren't the best shape to properly navigate the water. Sometimes they can even go in the opposite direction of the way that you are paddling. Yeah, I feel like mine would probably just go
just dip over.
Straight down, right?
That's pretty impressive.
Sink straight to the bottom. Yeah, that is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Looks pretty cool too. Thank you for starting your week with us. We will see you back here at noon. Until then, enjoy your Monday morning.